हरिः ॐ शं नो मित्रस्यं वरुणः शं नो भवत्वर्यमा शं न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शं नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. The next lesson is one of the most important lessons and one of the most difficult calculations also. I will try to explain the gist of the lesson, and if anybody wanted to go with calculations, and you can try. I will give you the reference of one book, the most important book, and if anybody wanted to try, you can try. Not only that, if any software is available now, then you can also work out with the software also. It is one of the important branches in astrology. Previously in India, the traditional astrologers, they used to follow this type of calculations before giving the predictions. But now the tradition has gone and nobody is taking that much of pains to calculate this particular horoscope, and that's why so many times the predictions go wrong. Okay, I will explain what Master explained here. There are 12 months in the year. When we are fertilized in our mother's womb, we complete 2/3 of our journey before the construction of the body is completed, and before we come to this earth through a process called birth, that is 3/4 of the 12 months. That is 9 solar months or 10 lunar months in between exist the period. So it is here Master is taken as 12 months in the year. Out of 12 months, the baby will be there in the womb, in the mother's womb for 9 months. 9 solar months or 10 lunar months, what Master told here. After 9 months of time, the baby comes out into the world, and remaining after 360 days, 9 months is 270 days, and 90 days is left. 90 days is left for the entire span of life, and that is 9 solar months or 10 lunar months in between exists the period. So how did we come to this calculation of 12 months? Because we live for 90 years or 80 years or 100 years or 70 years. This is a method to calculate in a general way. That is 9 solar months, 10 lunar months in between exists in the period of our existing in the mother's womb. The moment we are born and come to this earth, there are still 90 degrees to be completed, and each day is multiplied by 360 days. So we still have about 90 days to complete 1/4 of the circle. These 90 days are translated into 90 years of our span. This is our probable span after we come to this earth. So one day will be expanded into 1 year. This is the reason why the astrologer uses the method of progression for prediction, and this change should be reversed. That is, instead of 1 day expanding into 1 year and having 90 years instead of 90 days for our progress in our evolution, the 90 years progression should be reverted into 90 days. That is the purpose of our practice. This is the most difficult, the most difficult part in the spiritual astrology or any astrology. So I will explain to you in a simple way. So Master has taken 12 months time. 9 months will be over in the womb of the mother. After 9 months, the 10th month, the baby come out to the earth. And then in the year, 9 months is over and 3 months, that is 90 days is left. 90 days, what happens? 90 days will become 90 years according to the progressed astrology rules. There is a branch in the progressed astrology In that progress astrology, the Western type of astrological predictions, and they calculate 1 day is equal to 1 year or 1 year is equal to 1 day. That is the progression. Suppose if somebody wanted to give predictions on the basis of the Western chart horoscope, what he will do? Suppose somebody is born in 2000 year. Okay. So if we wanted to know about his future after 10 years, somebody born in 2000 October 10th, for example. Let us take that example. Somebody was born on 2000 October 10th. Suppose if you want to give the predictions after 10 years, then what astrologer will do? October 10th he was born, then he will add 10 days to it, then October 20. He will calculate the chart for October 20, 2000 with the same time of birth. What happens? So 2010 October 10th he calculate with the same day time of birth. Then this will become the horoscope for him for 2010th year. That is, they calculate 1 day is equal to 1 year. 10 days becomes 10 years. This is called in Sanskrit Devamana Dasa. That means for Devas, our 1 year is 1 day for them. Our 1 year is 1 day to Devas. In the Devas calculation, 1 year becomes 1 day. In our this thing, 1 day becomes 1 year. So this rule is followed by the Western astrologers. And Master E.K. said, actually they have taken from the book of Parashara Maharshi. It's a Parashara Hora, the book name is called. In that, he dealt with this progression calculations with the name Devamana Dasa. So you live like that. If anybody wanted to go to predictive side of astrology, you can read the book The Progressed Horoscope by Alan Leo. If anybody wanted to go to the predictive side of astrology with the Western horoscope, not with the Indian horoscope, with the Western horoscope, if anybody wanted to give the predictions for particular years or whatever it may be, you have to calculate the progression chart as 1 day is equal to 1 year, and then calculate to that particular date, and the prediction will come to that particular year. And then you read the Progress Astrology book very well, and then you can give some predictions with the background of the knowledge what you read in many books or the classes. Okay, we are not going into that. The purpose of this is we have to understand 1 day of the Devas is equal to 1 year to the human beings. Then what must I explain here? Out of 12 months, 9 months is over. 3 months are left for our lifespan. 3 months will become 90 days, become 90 years. Okay. If somebody lives more than 90 years or less than 90 years, that is a different science. Here what Master wanted to clarify, in the evolution or in the spiritual path or in the yogic path, instead of expanding 90 days into 90 years, in the spiritual path what we have to do? We have to revert 90 years into 90 days. How to do it? It is not so easy. That's why in the yogic path of Master CVV, what he said, if anybody is doing the prayer regularly, morning and the evening 6 o'clock and 6 o'clock, their past karma, what is there in the storehouse, will be neutralized so fast. So fast means in a normal course, with a normal human being, ordinary human being, to neutralize this karma, if it takes 2 or 3 births, what happens if somebody is doing the prayer of Master CVV with the procedure what he explained sincerely, and 3 or 4 births of karma will be neutralized in this birth itself. That is what we call reverting the span, reverting the periods, reverting the years, reverting the births. That is what Master we promised. Not only that, with certain pranayamas, with certain meditations, with a very disciplined way of living life on the basis of the Patanjali or Lord Sri Krishna's teachings, and follow a true yogic path, there is always a possibility to revert, to reduce the time to experience the past karma. This is the purpose of a real yoga or real meditation, a real spiritual life. This is what Master explained here. So, in many lectures of Master E.K., he explains about the process of yoga and a living style, and what to do and what not to do, and how to plan the life and how to work. Even in the invocations of Master Jwalkul and Master E.K., you find all these things. If you can try to understand in its true sense. This is what Master here said. And then there is a book. Here, this is a very, I reduced the lesson into 2 paragraphs because I don't want to strain your mind with all the calculations, but a lot of science is there. There is a procedure to calculate the horoscope to the time of fertilization, the first fertilization when the baby started its journey. And that calculation gives more accuracy in giving predictions than we calculate our birth chart. You understand what I am telling? The 2 things are here. One thing is, we calculate the horoscopes to the date of birth and time of birth and place of birth. If you go back into the mother's womb, we can also calculate the horoscope exactly to the fertilization time. That gives more accuracy in giving the predictions. It goes on like that. So, there is a book called Prenatal Epoch by E.H. Bailey. If anybody wanted to calculate the chart to the fertilization time, you have to read that book and you have to find out any software, or you have to learn the calculations. It's very strenuous and very difficult to calculate that chart. It is called the prenatal epoch, prenatal chart. Then if anybody wanted to try, and you try, but I did not pay much attention to that calculations. We tried, but we could not complete the calculations part. If any youngsters are there in our group, if they are interested, go bring the book. The book is available in Amazon. Old books will be available in Amazon. The book name is Prenatal Epoch by H. Bailey. So this is about the 12 months. And then the last lecture in the second lesson, the law of alternation. This is the last lecture in the second lesson. Okay. There is some information given to us by way of knowing and practicing. We are expected to know the law of alternation. See how the day alternates with the night, how night alternates with the day, and how wakeful state alternates with sleep, how sleep alternates with wakeful state, how life alternates with death, how death alternates with life. Without this alternation, there is no duration, which we call the span of life. See how our inhalation alternates with exhalation. Unless there is this alternation of inhalation and exhalation, there is no respiration and there is no possibility of span of life. Continuity is possible only through alternation. Without alternation, there is no continuity in anything. If you observe how electric current is produced, it is produced only through alternations. If you understand how electromagnet is working, how the dynamo is working, or how the atom is working, how the isotopes in the atoms are working, how the earth with its 2 poles is working, you will understand that alternation is an inevitable law. I told you many times, Master explained there are there are various laws, law of alternation and correspondences and opposites and parallels. He explained a lot of law of periodicity. He explained a lot of laws. Law of alternation is one of that. This is so simple. You find this law of alternation in every walk of life. What is telling? The day alternates with the night. Okay, night alternates with the day. Sleep alternates with the wakeful state, and wakeful state alternates with the sleep. And life alternates with the death, and death alternates with the life. Without alternation, there is no duration, which we call the span of life. So annihilation alternates with the exhalation, exhalation alternates with the inhalation. Unless there is this alternation of inhalation and exhalation, there is no respiration and there is no possibility of span of life. It is a must. Alternation is a must, day and night. Like that, happiness and unhappiness, right? Darkness and light, all these things. The continuity is possible only through alternation. Without alternation, there is no continuity in anything. This is how Master explained. There is nothing to explain here, because every day, every minute, we used to feel this law. Unless you close your eyes, you cannot open the eyes and see the world. Like this Master explained. There is nothing to explain astrologically here. He explained about the law of alternation. So law of alternation is the cause of what we call duration and the continuity of life. Therefore, you are expected to meditate upon this fact and know the real meaning of day and night. See how the water of the earth is evaporated and pulled to the sky. So what Master is telling, don't just understand it as a science of alternation or law of alternation. Observe in our life also. It is very important. Because generally what happens, we wanted to live so happily, so healthy, so contented like that. When something happens against to it, immediately we will be disappointed or discouraged or saddened or go to depressions. It depends. So if you know this law, if it is a night, we need not worry about it, because today morning by 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock sun will come and sun rises and the total world wakes up and we start our journey. And then we have to understand the way we came out of night to the day, again night will come. It is the nature. See, in the life, ups and downs will be there. Two things will alternate with each other. So, the upper part of the earth goes, in the rotation goes to the lower part, and lower part come to the upper part. It goes like that. And even in the races, in the families, the financial situations, the fame, whatever it may be, sometimes we will go up and come down and go up and come down. It is a nature. We have to understand that. And without understanding this law of alternation, if you expect every time so happy and so healthy with the grace of the Master, it is not possible. And I met one man who is doing the prayer since last 50 to 60 years. He fell sick. And I visited him and I said, don't worry. And he is going to the operation theatre. I went to him and I said, don't worry, and everything will be all right. And this is the part of life. Know how this thing has come to me, and I lived a very good life and clean habits and doing the prayer every day and chanting the mantras and living a very poised and disciplined life, and how this thing has come to me. And said that is the nature. That is the part of the life. We have to accept it. We cannot question it. Even though we question, even though we have any complaint against the Master or the nature or the God or the Goddess, nothing happens. The complaint stays in our mind for a long, and it causes depression and discouragement and unhappiness. Nothing else. We can't get anything. So, how these laws, the science of all these laws, are useful to us means you have to understand the phenomenon in the nature. It is the phenomenon of the nature. Somebody born means definitely he will die today or tomorrow, or after 90 years, or 100 years, or 70 years. Nobody can expect to live long for 150 years, 200 years, or lifelong. So many great seers, rishis, in the ancient days, they did a lot of experiments to keep this body alive forever. So many trials were made, so many experiments were made, and they did penance for hundreds of years. They lived for that. What for? To keep the body, physical body alive forever. It is against to the nature. It is against to the nature. That's why Lord Krishna says in the beginning chapters of Bhagavad Gita, so this body, the physical body is like a torn cloth, old cloth. What we do? When our shirt or anything is spoiled, we throw it out and we will get the new one. Like that, the jiva inside, the atma inside, when the body becomes old and it leaves that body and it gets a new body with a fresh life. It is so practical. So there is nothing to weep here to leave the physical body, because you are getting a new body in a new condition, like getting a new car or new clothes. These are all not philosophical teachings. They are very, very practical teachings. They are explained to us in the form of philosophy, but we can also understand with the background of the science also. So, with this law of alternation, our second lesson is also completed. And then let us go to the third lesson shortly. Once you complete listening to all these lectures and take the notes, small notes, and then let us go to the next lesson. And from next lesson onwards, I will try to explain and record every day or once in 2 days, and without recording for 30 minutes, something like that. And I thought it is so practical to explain the same day, or at least once in 2 days, the 2 lessons, and explain and send you the voice message. I think it is good. Okay, I hope all of you complete reading these, complete listening to the lectures as early as possible. Then I will come to the next level. Thank you all.